Good afternoon, everyone. I want to be absolutely clear that it is unfortunate that we have to be here today, because the reality is that less than a year since taking control of the Narragansett Electric utility control of our state, Rhode Island Energy is already proposing record level rate hikes for both electricity and natural gas services. For electricity, we are expected to see an increase of 47% in one's electricity bill. A month later, starting in November, it is expected that we are going to experience a 15% rate hike for natural gas services. And for a company that continuously came to the Public Utilities Commission when they were trying to buy the assets of National Grid, I remember Rhode Island Energy continuing to say, if this purchase goes through, not only will we improve customer service, we will control costs. We will prevent rate hikes. In fact, we will implement a rate hike freeze. And not even a year later, and they have backtracked on those promises that they made to our community. They were at those public hearings, and they lied to our faces that things would get better if they had control of our utilities. But instead, we're facing record level rate hikes that will lead to utility shutoffs, that will lead to evictions, that will leave people in poverty hurting more than ever. Because during a time where the cost of living has increased in between rent, groceries, and now utilities, the working people in our state are being squeezed. And it is for that reason that the purpose of this press conference is to make it absolutely clear to the Public Utilities Commission, but most importantly, to Rhode Island Energy, that we have some demands. And we are requiring answers. And those demands are as follows. The PUC must decrease the profit margin of utility companies from 10% back to 6%. And just for some quick context, it was several years ago that the PUC made the decision of allowing National Grid, who at the time owned our utilities, to exceed a profit margin of over 10%. And they didn't have to justify that. Going beyond that, our second demand is that in the case where the PUC chooses not to decrease the profit margin, then we are calling on Rhode Island Energy to voluntarily decrease their profit margin. In addition to that, going into January, when we return to the State House for the 2023 legislative session, we are calling on Rhode Island Energy to commit that they will work with the George Wiley Center, with community stakeholders, with the PUC to implement a percentage income payment plan, otherwise known as PIP. And PIP provides a vast amount of protections for working people who are experiencing high utility bills. Most importantly, and our immediate demand for today and going into next week's hearing is Rhode Island Energy must share the burden of increasing electricity and natural gas costs. Because this is what is happening. Rhode Island Energy is currently trying to justify their record level rate hikes by saying that the market cost for energy is increasing due to inflation. Therefore, we, the community, has to take on the economic burden. And I say no. Instead, what we are demanding is that Rhode Island Energy directly absorb some of these increasing energy costs in order to come back and withdraw their current proposals to increase rate hikes. Because only then will they show us that they are committed to our community. So Rhode Island Energy, I will once again repeat, we are expecting that you will directly absorb some of the increasing energy costs. Go back to the PUC and say that you are withdrawing your current proposals to increase electricity and natural gas costs. And I say this because when Rhode Island Energy purchased the assets of National Grid, that was a deal worth well over $4 billion. They had the money to come into Rhode Island and purchase the assets of National Grid. Therefore, they have the resources to absorb some of the costs directly and withdraw these greedy rate hike proposals. And now lastly, in the scenario where Rhode Island Energy refuses to come back to the docket and withdraw their proposed rate hikes, we are calling on the Public Utilities Commission to mark this case as extraordinary and therefore reject both rate hikes for electricity and natural gas. But I want to be absolutely clear. We are making demands out of Rhode Island Energy first and foremost because they are the private utility company that came into our communities, said that they would improve services, said that they would lower costs, and most importantly, prioritize the ratepayer over all else. But instead, we have seen the exact opposite of that since they have come into our state 5 months ago. And we will not stand for that. And that is why next Friday, September 16th, we are going to show up to the Public Utilities Commission to demand that the PUC reject these rate hikes in the case where Rhode Island Energy refuses to withdraw their proposed rate hikes. And so moving forward, today we will be hearing from some of our working people here in the community across Rhode Island based on their experience as it relates to either having been shut off, having experienced these rate hikes, and overall the economic burden that increasing rate hikes due to corporate greed has on our communities. So thank you all again so much for being here. And I am hopeful that going into next Friday, we're going to send a clear message as we are today. Rhode Island Energy, Public Utilities Commission, prioritize the needs of working people, not profit.